So Brie Larson is kind of seeing things our way finally, as she is sick and tired of her own character, Captain Marvel, probably for some different reasons than why we don't like her character, but I digress. A win is a win. Maybe after this dreadful movie drops and tanks, which it's already been projected to be the flop of Marvel MCU history, maybe we can finally put all this to rest. So anyway, well, let's dive into this article coming to us from Bounding Into Comics. They said Brie Larson reportedly grew disillusioned with Captain Marvel role, doesn't want to play the part anymore. I can't blame her for different reasons. Now, I will say one reason why the part is so bad is because of her. I don't like to just bash people. I really don't. But in this situation, it's true. And she has been too arrogant to read the room, to see any feedback, to not stop her virtue signaling of hating on men and hating on white people, this, that, and the other. And this is one other reason why I do feel a little less guilty about criticizing her, is because of all that and all that she's already been doing in this space. And well, how many times has she taken her virtue signaling and said things like, oh, white people need to step aside and give people of color more roles, and something to that effect. And look what happened. She got sidelined in her own franchise. And, apparently she was very mad about it. And I think that's one reason. I think that's the real reason why she's over it with Captain Marvel, is because she doesn't have the spotlight with Captain Marvel. She has to share it with other characters, and it's all just a giant mess. But even that said, even when she had all the spotlight to herself with Captain Marvel in her movie, it was just dreadful. Nobody liked Carol Danvers. She was insufferable, and a lot of people just wanted to pull the sexist card. Oh, you just don't like it because she's a woman, despite the fact that there are plenty of female leading action characters that people adore. Right? So that excuse is tired. It's boring. It doesn't work. It falls flat. She just wasn't written well. And Brie Larson's interpretation of her is awful. And this also reminds me of recently, one of the comic book writers. Why am I forgetting her name? Why? She also wrote for Tomb Raider's comics and did terrible with it. Okay, I had to Google it to remember. Gail Simone, which, mind you, when Gail Simone wrote for Tomb Raider and their comic, it was the rebooted Tomb Raider. This was after the original game has Lara Croft and saving Sam at Yamatai. She had Lara Croft go back to Yamatai and save Sam again. Oh, a redo! Like, seriously, that is some of the most worst writing in history. I will never forgive that. So anyway, Gail Simone made a tweet not long ago saying, oh, Carol Danvers is a stoic. And if Carol Danvers was a man, people would love him. They love stoics. But it's just because she's a woman that nobody likes her. And it's like, she just completely misses the mark on this. People dislike Carol Danvers not because she is a stoic. She's just a jerk, and it's not pulled off right. If you take a character who can be a smart aleck and can be a jerk sometimes or can be a stoic, take someone like freaking look at Iron Man, right? People loved him, but it was pulled off correctly. Brie Larson just doesn't pull it off. She just doesn't. And if you want to talk about a stoic, a female stoic, look at Celine from the Underworld movies. I mean, she's about as stoic as you can get, and she has amassed a huge fan base. Like, the Underworld series is a cult classic. People love it. So it's not a matter of, oh, this character is a stoic, or maybe this character is supposed to be sarcastic or something. It's that the combination of the writing and Brie Larson just don't pull it off. Okay, if we had a different actress in the role, like an Angelina Jolie maybe, or a Kate Beckinsale, okay, even a Scarlett Johansson, people would love her. Do people complain about Scarlett Johansson in the MCU? No, They really don't, for the most part, apart from her movie. Her Black Widow movie was not great. But do they complain about her character in the Avengers as a whole? No. For the most part. Especially in the good ones. She was great. So anyway, let's continue reading this. I just went on a tangent. So she's disillusioned with the role. Okay. As reported by the Direct, author Joanna Robinson claims that Larson grew disillusioned with the role in her book, MCU: The Reign of Marvel Studios. Specifically, Robinson wrote, the future of those Marvel icons was unclear. The departure of franchise anchors like Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, and Scarlett Johansson had already taken its toll and had the shocking loss of Chadwick Boseman. But other MCU stalwarts were heading for the exits. The Guardians of the Galaxy cast went on a farewell tour. Brie Larson grew disillusioned, and Marvel tussled with Sony in a custody battle over Tom Holland. Okay, so she's disillusioned because she's like, oh, MCU's falling apart. This ain't the cool kids club no more. I don't have the spotlight anymore. I gotta share with these other actors. During an appearance on the Watch podcast, Robinson added, I don't know if Brie Larson was the wrong person for the role necessarily. She was. But the toxic backlash means that Brie Larson doesn't want to play Carol Danvers anymore. Okay. During an appearance, I just read that. She added, that's sort of what she said. She was interviewed at D23 and they're like, so we're going to see a bunch more from Carol Danvers. She's like, I don't know. Does anyone want to see me play Carol Danvers? Doesn't seem like it. She had a giant attitude in that one. Yeah, this one. Oh my goodness. If you have not seen this.
How long will you play Captain Marvel for?
I don't know. Does anyone want me to do it again?
Don't be so modest.
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't have the answer to that.
This is like Rachel Zellweger. What is that? Rachel Zellweger. I'm thinking of another actress. Rachel Zegler. It's like she took notes out of her book to try to be as insufferable as possible in interviews. And what makes it worse is the lingering eye contact. She's like, mad dogging him, dude. He asked a question. And he was being nice about it. But attitude, brat, like spoiled brat. Oh, I can't stand to see it. Just insufferable. And this is why a lot of people just don't like what she does. And this is another reason why a lot of people aren't excited about what Rachel Zegler is doing. It just gives spoiled, entitled, insufferable attitude. It's can't deal. Okay. Same energy. You saw like also insufferable energy when it's like, oh, I did my own stunts. And she wouldn't admit that she had a stunt double for the longest time in interviews. Constantly, whenever she's being interviewed with castmates trying to one up them, it's just narcissistic. It's not likable. It makes it extremely difficult to like even the characters they're portraying. It's just what it is. So Robinson went on to detail that Larson wanting to leave the role of Captain Marvel was not the case during the filming of Avengers Endgame. She said, Chadwick Boseman told me the story about on the set of Endgame, he and Brie Larson and Tom Holland sat around and talked about how they were the future of Marvel and how exciting that was for them. And when you look at the breakdown between the Sony Marvel deal over Spider-Man, when you look at Chad Boseman passing away and you look at Brie Larson either not being a great fit or just, being damaged by toxic fandom, then that plan that they had put into play, they felt like they were creating another A-team. Robinson added, there's so many factors that came into play that sort of knocked their plan out under them. The report comes out just as Walt Disney Company and Marvel Studios are ramping up promotion for Larson's upcoming The Marvels film, where she does reprise her role as Captain Marvel. And I've made a video about this in the past, like a year ago or so, where rumors had it where she was not happy about having to share the limelight in that film. The film is already facing box office headwinds with Box Office Pro projecting the film could have the worst opening weekend in box office gross of any previous Marvel Cinematic Universe entry ever. Specifically, the outlet reports the movie will bring in between 50 and 75 million in its opening domestic weekend and go on to gross between 121 million and 189 million in its entire domestic run at the box office. On top of those poor projections, the film's director, Nia DaCosta, implies she's done with any kind of Marvel Studios production following the conclusion of the film. DaCosta told Vanity Fair, "It was really great to play in this world and to be a part of building this big world, but it just made me want to build my own world more." This is like... Okay, let me just finish this first. Not only did she indicate that she was done with Marvel Studios, but she also appeared to wash her hands of taking any kind of credit or blame for the film, saying, "It is a Kevin Feige production. It's his movie. So I think you live in that reality. But I tried to go in with the knowledge of some of you is going to take a back seat." All right, so here's another take I have on this kind of thing too is... you notice when it comes to Marvel, when Marvel was at their height, at their peak, MCU was, then it was like, oh, we need more female directors. We need more directors of color. We need more this, that, the other, like checkbox of a director. It can't just be white men directing these films. Well, now that, okay, they start hiring people based on, their physical attributes instead of their history, their passion for whatever they're doing, their knowledge and their talent, then we start to see, and this also bled into writers, into, things of that nature, right? Then you see a giant flop after flop after flop with the MCU. All of a sudden, the MCU isn't like top dog anymore. People are getting sick of it. They're getting tired of it. And now people are like, oh, you know what? I don't need to direct for them anymore. It's okay. It's all good. Yeah, I'll do my own thing. Now they don't want to be in the club anymore. Meanwhile, there are people who are actually huge fans of Marvel, actually huge fans of the superhero type universes, and actually huge fans of just like action movies, and they want to do this stuff. And they could do so much better with writing, with directing and all this. But because everything has gotten so political with, oh, we have to hire people based on unmutable characteristics, things that, they have no control over. This is just where we're at. And this is why the identity politics and all that is a huge reason why we have seen the MCU just completely crap the bed lately. This is why we've seen the huge MCU empire fall. So, anyway, we'll see if they can recover from it. But anyway, that's it, Brie Larson, sick of playing Captain Marvel, and we're sick of seeing it. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I know I took a break from uploading on here. I was just really overwhelmed with things that were going on in the world. Seeing biblical prophecy unfold and things of that nature, it can be very overwhelming. So thank you all for bearing with me. Also, I do want to remind you that I do have a Bible channel where I read the Bible every single day to you guys, because it's just so important to hear the Word of God, read the Word of God every single day. So I would love to see you there. We just hit 11,000 subscribers there at Bible Time with Melanie Mack. I have a link in the link tree. And on the end card here, you'll see that as well. Thank you all so much for watching. I will catch you next time. And in the meantime, go boom.